Hello and welcome to another episode of F11 free-to-play Shadow Dragon. Today we'll be doing Endgame. That's how they call this last chapter in this game. Other games do not call it that way. So these are the units I'll bring. I have Wendell here for healing Elise. Elise will be here for 45 more than Warp. And Beck and Jake could help me chip down the mana hit that's before the final boss. Tiki will get rid of the final boss. I gave her all the sub boosters except the Goddess Icon and the energy drop. The Goddess Icon is because she already had Cap Block, and the energy drop is because I gave that to Merric. Look at Merric! Cap Speed, Cap Magic, 11 Sword, Swordmaster. I didn't need an Arm Scroll to get C rank, which is needed for Living Sword and Angular Slayer. I'll be using Living Sword. This is not my first attempt. On my first attempt, I was trying the same strategy that I'll apply right now. I should point out the things that were unexpected that made me reset. One is that Medius doesn't take damage from the Sphere. I will still manage to get a way around that by fighting him with Wolf being Warp. Instead of using 3 Geospheres, I can use 2 and then warp Wolf to chip him down so Tiki could finish him. I lost because Wolf got 3% crit. So that Goddess Icon I still had, I gave that to Wolf, so now he'll face less crit. I believe he still faces 1 point of crit, which is not desirable, but it should be better. And Merric was not able to double. Merric wasn't able to double this guy for some reason, which is quite annoying. The WOD page says the Firestone gives 4 speed, but it seems that it gives 6 because I had 5 strength and Living Sword weighs 6, so I was getting slowed down by 1 point. I had 29 attack speed and I couldn't double. I know you can double this guy with cap speed being 30, so I gave him that energy drop and now he has 30 speed, so he should double. I can my way around that on the previous attempt, because I managed to reach the boss, was to use Beck and Jake to chip him down, which I shouldn't need that right now. Don't think those units can chip down Medius enough to not need Wolf, but they're there. And I guess Falchion will just have no use on the previous chapter nor this one. We just got that for, I don't know, double, I guess. And I should mention another thing I was doing back then. I sold the bullions I had. You are allowed to sell things, you are not allowed to make use of money. I sold them just to show that I have over 100,000 gold, so we can go to Valor Island if we want to. And we managed to get good there. I guess it'll be even more expensive considering it's on another continent. But yeah, that's cool. You are also not allowed to... You are not allowed to forge items. I don't think I mentioned that on any previous video being shown. I think it's a little important because you can forge things like Rapier and Queen Spear if you were allowed to use gold. If you were allowed to use gold, forging Queen Spear early on is probably very helpful, as it could very easily make you one-shot maybe some knights early on. I still managed to make use of Queen Spear for a while. But yeah, I kinda stopped using her after I didn't have Queen Spear. She wasn't getting strength either, so it's not like she was going to be very helpful. And I'm pretty sure I still have enough weapon ramp for Rider's Vein, which might be stronger. I don't know right now. And I guess I should also show you, now that this is the last chapter, all the items that are yet available. I guess we'll show you the list. That includes all the weapons I have with my units, but that means all the weapons I could still have. As you've seen, I still have 2 full iron swords, 3 full iron swords, 2 full steel swords. You can merge weapons, so technically this can be like another full steel sword, maybe. 2 full iron silver swords, 2 devil swords without being used, and that's just cool, I guess. The Queen Slayers, which are quite pointless because they're only effective against mana hits. It's the same as Sinning Gates. They suck because they're not effective against wyverns, but they should. Full Armor Slayer, that's a lot of swords I had available, but as for lances, all the lances are on some units. There's no lances in the convoy. I guess there are some units that are not deployed, like saying right now, and the Pegasus Guild is not deployed either. There are also Minerva is not deployed. A few axes. I didn't hammer the hand axe. It's the only 1-2 range axe you get. It was a good idea to hammer it. I just didn't. There's the devil axe. Bows. I barely have any bows, but they still have a few killer bows, I guess. Tomes. I did hammer a few thunder tomes. That's why there is one here that's still unused. Heals, I think I did hammer 2 heals or 1 heals. That's why there's still one with 19 uses there. I did hammer 1 warp, I believe, and I still only have all those. I have still 3 uses of hammer. It's not that bad. There's almost stuff. Again, we are not allowed to use that because that will require a death first. And there's Firestorms. I still managed to use a few, but most of the time it was just banned to fighting healers that I didn't need to. Few waters. The boots I haven't used, but like, what's the point of boots in a game where warp is infinite range? There's like a bunch of master seals. Yeah, I guess I didn't mention that. Where is she? Elise is promoted. I did that because that should help her with Sphere. She got like 6 more HP thanks to that promotion. Without that, she can still take 1 hit from Sphere, but I'm not sure if she could get healing off after that. The unit that I'm using to heal her, I believe it is Gwendol for magic and can only use heal because I don't think I have a mend. I'm not sure if mends are a thing here right now. So I'm not sure if she would have been healing off for the second use of Sphere without being promoted. But yeah, I have plenty of master seals. This might be the only game in which promotion items are not an issue for this challenge. On the other ones, I believe at some extent you face the consequences of not being able to buy them. But here, you may not. I mean, you probably don't face the consequences on GBA games, to be honest, because most promotion items there are not viable. Most promotion items that are viable are secret shops, which may not be too soon in the game for that. But yeah, that's pretty much about it as what I have left after the game. Let's just go and finish this map. I'll do the same as I did before, except now it should work. I don't think technically it can still fail, I believe, because I'll still be facing 1% crit I'll still be facing 1% crit with Wolf, so can't really do much about that. I guess there's one thing I might be able to afford. I forgot to deploy Sane again. In order to do that, I will have to bend one of the ballisticians just so I could see a conversation. I think there's a conversation between Sane and Otto, but whatever. We're not here to show every conversation possible. In fact, I will be surprised if I had made some somehow. Suggesst Medeus and his Sticky and Merric. The Swordmaster Merric. Warp Tiki. So now you should double. See? He can double. I'm not sure why he wasn't able to do that last time. I'm pretty sure he should have 24 attack speed, not 26. What else? Geosphere, we had to use that once. So now this guy has 47 HP. Is there a way in which I could afford myself to like force someone here? I don't think so, because even though Elise has also warp, I had to use a 45 once. Wait, do I actually have to? Yeah, I mean I had to, because Wendell is not high enough in HP, nor is Elise, so I need both units to be healed in order to use Geosphere again. But Medeus is not taking damage from Geosphere, so if I could defeat this enemy without using that, I could afford myself to use Warp. Because as last time, I know Wolf can take 2 hits from this guy after 2 Geospheres and heal, and like he takes 20 damage because of cap defense, and he has 45 HP, so he can leave one combat against him as long as he doesn't get crit. So if I could get rid of this enemy without using Geosphere again, I could make use of War with Elise, take a hit with Wolf, and make use of War with Elise for a save point to ensure that you don't die and then Tiki hits. In fact, I could also use the other War with Goto, just so I could make use of this other save point, both save points, just to ensure the first hit and living, and ensure the hit of Tiki. I won't be doing that. I'll just do what I did before. Kill her. Use 45. Do I really want to? Again, these ballisticians can't do anything but attacking these units, and this is not reliable. Like, in fact, if I hit this, it should already be low enough in HP for this guy to be enough HP to let Merric hit this enemy. Also, Merric can double with Wyrmslayer because it gets slowed down by 2 points, which is 20 HP, so you can double with that. You could use Devil Sword, but that wouldn't do anything, and Wyrmslayer deals less damage. So yeah, Living Sword, I mean, yes, you know, beat this guy right now. Hey, cap skill. And now there's only this boss, which I gave her one secret book. That's the only thing I could increase in accuracy. I gave her a lot of speed wins, but she's still getting double. I mean, this game has 50 speed. It's only natural. 48 damage. I need 12 more damage. How could I get 12 more damage? Not this way. So the way I can do it is by warping someone for this. Also, I guess in that case I could have just have Selgar. Selgar is also not... Selgar does not die either. I could use Parthia. This weapon is 1-2 range, so it wouldn't really matter. But I guess both units can take a hit, and I can warp both units. And by warping both units, I'm not sure if they support each other, but if they do, I might get rid of boys, so I ensure my way of not dying. Besides, if they support each other, they should also get more accuracy, so it should be more likely for me to hit them. Or I could just use the save points. Okay then. Let me see. How did you do? You face crit. How did you do? You still face crit. Why did you face crit? I thought they would get some crit avoid. Maybe they only get support bonuses from Harding, which I guess I could deploy over Sedgar to give them the crit up. The hit avoid, hit and avoid. We are not getting that, and because I just don't feel like, dying again, I will send Sedgard this save point and make sure that I beat this boss. Also, just so you see, I could get a crit here and beat the boss in one shot. That's kind of funny. Now TG, please, don't miss. It's 82, it's not that bad, it's still 2 around, right? Oh, nice crit. Get obliterated. Yes, sure, by humans. She got a crit, so I didn't nick Wolf. Oh, by the way, I forgot to update the chapter with valuable items. That's on me. And the valuable items here there are actually some valuable items, but they're not valuable because you don't need them and you have beaten the game. Oh yeah, the level up after beating the game. That's so useful. That's level up. Wait, why did that not work? Oh, because it doesn't work because it fits. God damn it. And yeah, that's endgame. This is what this is what's credits here. It isn't too long, so I might as well do it. Okay, let's check turn limits and time. Oh yeah, 150 turns early on. I did not want to use freeze healing, and I did well not doing that. There were very few healings available early on. But yeah, it went way faster after another one of 80 turns. This is already less, then it's 50, 15, that's more acceptable. I don't know what chapter 7 was, but if it takes longer, it's probably because I was using force for healing somehow, or face reinforcements. "65 turns on that map." Yeah, I went very slow there. Camus, that was the chapter where I guess teasing with Palestinians plus Talsphere. It took me a while to reach chapter 23 Garnev's map because of me getting Falchion, and also that I did not use Falchion, but also because I wasted the reinforcements and went one by one to train Tiki. And yet those last two maps, one turn, because I don't feel like playing them. I don't think no one wants to play them legit. And unlike Path of Radiance, where there is a sequel, this game has ending credits. I guess Epic One did that too, but you know, back then there was no FF3. I know there's no new mystery, but you know there's more story to be told. So they could have not have given us those ending cards. Abel, you got an empty level up right from this time. I still didn't manage to promote game because it didn't feel like training my units. Like, that's the point. I had more deployments lost than units that were needed because Wolf and Sega could just defeat most enemies, not just tank them but also defeat them. And yeah, I did not use Gordon or Castle that often because I wanted to save those bows for Wolf and Selkar. And I did well. I was at the end barely having any bows. I could have used more sword units and train more sword units. It's still not sure if that would have been worth it. Like, the best use I could think of for a sword unit is what I did with Merric. Have a unit with 50 speed to double that mana kit, just so I could fight the boss with Tiki or Marth. Which, to be honest, you don't really need. You can break a crit with what I did with Wolf. He was having enough damage to one-shot him with a crit. You could just go for that. But yeah, I guess that's more or less what it is. I didn't want to use many other axe units that I got early on because I wasn't sure how many axes I will be getting. And even though you do get some after, like, I could have trained Bars and Minerva maybe, 2 units, 2 axe users maybe, at most. I didn't promote Bars, but he capped strength on tier 1, which is not terrible. 20 strength is more than what most of my units had. This Merric, I think he was quite an MVP here. I also use save points most of the time on him because I needed someone to beat Karnev. You can probably beat Karnev more easily, just use barrier with someone. Like, Rennac has so much rest that she could eventually beat Karnev. So 45 uses are kind of a pain, so you probably need 2 units if you want to do that. Or somehow get rid of those healers. Or Herhammer for the Starlight, that could also work, I guess. It'll be quite expensive, but it could work. There are a lot of additional units on this game, and they even give you replacements in case you lose even more. I still don't understand why they think giving us a thief by talking to that unit, to that thief with another thief is a good idea. Like, if thieves were allowed to reclass, then maybe, because you could use him as a thief and then reclass the other thief, or reclass him and use him as a different class. But no, thieves are locked to thieves, and that's it. Yeah, I believe Caesar could have been a replacement for Naval, but I stopped using him at some point. Still single. Oh, poor Roger. George, I mean, I did use him when I got him, but I wanted to save balls for Wolf and Selkar. I think I also used him on the following chapter because of additional flyers. I don't remember if I actually used him very well there. Minerva, she was a flyer promoted MO. Technically, she was my highest movement unit. But like, I couldn't do much with her. I did train Jake most with essentially cheese Camus. That's the time where he got the most amount of experience. He was useful at some point where I wanted to get rid of one enemy in one turn. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I could just be using one single ballistician. Hey, they kinda credit the people who made the first Fire Emblem games. Not in a very responsible way by just including them all that way without telling who they were, but they did that. Boa and Wendell were actually used at some point on endgame at least, so I could have more healers. I believe only one of those two is actually required, because one of those two can just work while the other one cannot. I checked on reclassing the one that had lower staff rank, the one that was a 6, and it still couldn't get to warp. So one unit is required, the other one is just for heal Elise, and that could be done with any unit with enough HP. I could reclass someone else, maybe I could reclass Kagan into doing that. Katia, Palanes, I mean, they did triangle attack on that with S, and they could have done triangle attack on the chapter previous to the final one, chapter 24, if I didn't train Tiki that much. I'm still not sure how much training Tiki needs in order to not die by that enemy, but maybe it's not just the stat boosters Sarah froze on her, the stat boosters I gave her on endgame, which they were not needed, because the only thing she benefited from the stat boosters I gave her was the secret book for 1 more crit and 2 more skill, I think. Everything else was not needed, so if I had given her the stat boosters in the previous chapter, she would have lived and with barrier and be done with that. At least she used warp, did she not? 45 would have worked too in a different way, but yeah, I could just use warp or 45. And warp let me use save points for more reliability, which I end up not needed, but I did go for that. Alright then, so that's it. 28 hours, 7 minutes. 28 hours, 24, 27, 20. I don't know which one of these is Fantasy Girl color only. I did that before I start my channel. And the other one, I think it's a no reclassing challenge, so I also did that before. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you're interested in those two. I will eventually do Fantasy Girl color only, but I don't know when, so yes, wait. But yeah, I'm glad that even though this took more time for healings and such, it's still around the same playtime as other rounds, so I guess it didn't even take longer than others, which is great. But yeah, that's about it for this challenge. We should probably start a new one next week, so I hope you're looking forward to that. If not, then that's fine, I guess. I hope you enjoy this. We may see you in a year or two when I do another Shadow Dragon, if you are only interested in this Fire Emblem game. If you're interested in others, I have done all the challenges before, or the same challenge, but on other games, so you can check them out or you cannot. It is your choice. I'll hope to see you on another video. Bye!